Well, hello, Facebook friends. For any of you who are just joining us, welcome to the Living Room Series, Episode 2. We are just waiting for our YouTube channel to start streaming. So real quick, I'll just say hello. So I'm Grace Browning, Principal Harpist of the Rochester Philharmonic Orchestra. And since, I guess 2 weeks ago, the RPO has been unable to perform as a group. So in an effort to keep the music going, we have been so excited to share performances of RPO musicians in our own homes. So here I am today. I'll real quick show you around as we wait for YouTube to launch. So this is my beautiful harp, 47 strings. I actually live here in the old Sibley building. Okay, we are saying hello to our YouTube audience. Hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am so excited to bring you episode 2 of the Living Room series. So speaking for all of us RPO musicians, we are so grateful for our incredible community of music lovers and supporters, family and friends. So today I'm just going to share with you some of my favorite pieces from my own living room. And later on we may or may not have a cameo from my sweet pup Annie, who is my official roommate, besides this big girl, of course. So to start us off today, I thought it would be nice to start with some Bach. Funny story, Bach didn't actually write for the harp. But he did write, of course, some of the most beautiful music that we have since transcribed for it. We often love to steal from piano, harpsichord, or really any instrument. And that's the beauty of Bach, is that anything he writes sounds good on really any instrument. So a fun fact about this prelude I'm going to play, this you'll probably recognize as a classic Bach piece. But what a lot of people don't know was that Bach actually wrote this prelude in C when he was in jail. True fact. Poor Bach, he had a really bad employer. And when he decided to apply for another job, the employer said, "I'm sorry, but you can't do that," and they threw him in jail. So he ended up spending actually a full month there, and during that period, he wrote the entire book of the Well-Tempered Clavier. So that ended up being, one of his most famous works to date. So it's true that you can do amazing things when you are in a small space and quarantined, if you will. So here is the beautiful Meditation in C by Bach. Yay, Bach! So that's one of my favorites. Now, we also have for you today a lot of harp favorites. In fact, the next piece I'm going to play for you is the Handel Concerto in B flat. So this is one of those pieces, I used to hear it occasionally on a ringtone here and there. Da-da-da-dum, bum, 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 bum. It's very catchy. What's very interesting about this piece is that it was actually written for harp or organ. And in fact, this is one of the only pieces we have from Handel because, quick history lesson, the harp that we see here today, the full-size, beautiful harp, was not actually in existence back in Bach's or Handel's day. But what they did have was something called an arpa doppia, which is basically a triple-strung harp. So instead of one set of strings, picture three. Yeah, it sounds pretty complicated. So since then, we've switched, of course, to one row of strings and some pedals. So in the meantime, we have so many things clanging here. So I am going to share with you this Handel Concerto. It's a very, very joyful piece. Handel wrote this as an excerpt from his oratorio, which was celebrating the feast of Saint Alexander. So it's very happy, very peppy, and I did actually get to perform this live for a Zoom meeting with the RPO board this week, which was really fun. My first Zoom performance. So I hope this brings you as much joy as it does for me to play. So for those of you just joining us, this is the Living Room series, every Saturday at 6 p.m. featuring a musician of the RPO. I am actually playing to you from my downtown apartment. I live for you Rochester locals, I live in the old Sibley building, which is pretty cool. So for those of you who don't know Rochester, Sibley's was like Macy's before there was Macy's. So we're talking like 150 years ago. And it was this huge, huge corner block right in the center of Rochester, like the center of commerce. And then, you know, it eventually closed down maybe in like the 70s, 80s. And then since then, we've seen this beautiful, beautiful gentrification of downtown. And so they've turned this into, what's it? Oh, it's not working? Oh, sorry. My Texas buddy is giving me. Here we go. Is this better? Okay. Sorry about that. I thought, hopefully this angle works for you guys. Thanks for your patience. Okay, so anyway, here we are in this old Sibley building. So it is kind of cool. There's a lot of sort of historic feels in this building, including my door, which is actually from 1874. So that's kind of fun. So anyway, I hope you all are having a relaxing evening. If you don't have a little something to sip on, feel free. We'll have a nice few more pieces for me to play for you, and then I will sit down for a minute and have a drink and answer some questions. So in the meantime, as you guys are listening, if you have any questions for me, please feel free to just dial them into the comments, and I'd love to answer them later. I can imagine a few commonly asked questions about this, you know, enormous instrument. So real quick, at a glance, the harp is 47 strings. Hopefully you guys can see up there. It is quite a big piece of furniture. It's about 85 pounds. And there are actually 2,000 moving pieces inside the harp. So what a lot of people don't see, they just see the wooden on the outside and of course all the beautiful strings. But on the inside, it's sort of like almost like a kind of a robot, right? And the way that works is, you can't see them here, but I have 7 foot pedals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And each pedal basically helps me create sharps and flats for the various strings. So notice here, I'm playing the same string. Now when I move my pedal, suddenly it becomes sharp. And now if I move it the other direction, it becomes flat. So that's basically how I get all of the different pitches and all of the different keys on the harp. So that is basically a long way of explaining why for the longest time we don't really have composers writing for us. Like Bach didn't write for the harp because it was so chromatic, right? And we couldn't do it. But the good news is, now we can! So the next piece I'm going to play for you is a piece by Claude Debussy. Debussy was one of our major composers, not only for harp, but you know, just for the whole romantic and impressionistic genre. So the piece I'm going to play for you is actually his first Arabesque. This was originally written for piano, but it sounds so good on harp. And what I love about it, so an Arabesque, a lot of people when they think of the word Arabesque, they think of sort of that, you know, little ballet move, right? And that's fine if you want to think about that. But what's interesting is that the other definition for an Arabesque is almost like an ornate design, almost like a really glorified doodle or something you'd see in often in Muslim art, or even in like a Corinthian column, that sort of beautiful squiggly pattern. So what you'll hear in the music is almost an auditory version of swirls, and you can even watch sort of the way that the lines interact between the two hands, and in a way you will sort of get the feeling visually and musically of an arabesque. So enjoy. there's Debussy. I just love that one. It almost sounds like it was written for harp, right? I mean, it's pretty good. So yes, and to be fair, Debussy did write some fantastic works for the harp, especially in orchestra. In fact, just last season we got to do Debussy's Prelude to the Afternoon of a Faun. I got to play with my second harp, Rosanna Moore, and that was super fun. So, you know, usually in orchestra there is just one harp, but occasionally you get to have more than one harp, and that is always a blast. In fact, last year I got to go down to the Met to play in some of their ring cycle, and for that, for Wagner, we ended up having 6 harps in the back of the pit. It was like sardines back there, but it was definitely an army of harps, so that's a fun time. Anyways, next up, I'm going to play for you another one of my favorite pieces. So we're kind of going through time here, and the next composer I'm going to feature is a harpist composer. So, you know, there are a lot of the composers who wrote music for the harp ended up being harpists themselves, just because the instrument is so unique and it's so different, and it really takes someone who like really understands the instrument to write for it, and especially to promote it. So the person, one of the people who did that the most was a man named Elias Parrish Alvars. So he was basically like the Chopin or the Liszt of the harp world, right? So amazing musician, performer, and composer. So he just toured all around Europe, and he was a very good-looking guy. So, you know, I mean, it's just amazing to imagine this, you know, fierce Elias, you know, harp soloist touring all over the world like a rock star, really. But that was him. And when you hear this music, you will kind of understand, because it really is super virtuosic, very flamboyant. But it also just goes to show how much he loves the harp and how much we could do with this full-size chromatic pedal harp. So here is his introduction, cadenza, and rondo for harp. And again, for any of you just joining, welcome to the Living Room series. If you have any questions for me, just feel free to dial them in and we'll answer them later. Anyone can see. Annie, come here. Come here, babe. I'm going to pick her up so we can see her for a minute. Here is my little one, Annie. I don't know if any of you guys have pups at home. Annie is a little rescue. You may see her walking around downtown with me. She is, I got her in Dallas, but the good news is she loves Rochester and especially loves the snow. So it seems that we moved to the right place. For those of you who haven't met me before, I just joined the RPO the year before last. I was previously living in Dallas playing with the Dallas Opera. And before that I lived all around, but I am originally from New Jersey, so Rochester definitely does feel like the right neck of the woods. So it's just been a joy to be here, and a joy to be here with you today. How are we doing on time? 6:27. Okay, great. So I'm just going to play two more pieces for you. There's another piece that I really would love to share with you, especially in these crazy times. We have a really beautiful sonata written by Paul Hindemith. He actually wrote this piece. He started writing it, I think, in 1939, and this was right at the ages that, right in the middle of World War II, and Hindemith was, at that point living in Germany, and so everything he wrote was really under strict scrutiny from the Nazi regime, and if he were to release something that wasn't to the liking, his life could be in danger. And on top of that, his wife was actually of Jewish descent, so they ended up emigrating to Switzerland and eventually to the US. So it was right during that time, right after he left Germany, that he wrote this sonata. So I'm just going to play for you the first movement. I love it because there is something very courageous and bold about it, but also very much at peace. And it's sort of him being unafraid to show his true colors, after a really challenging time. And it's interesting, he wrote sonatas for all of the instruments, and so we're really lucky that he decided to include the harp in this because it's one of our most beloved works. different from the piano in that sense that we do have to do it. I usually tune my harp every day, and sometimes if I put on new strings, they might be a little weird sounding for a little bit, so excuse me for that. Yeah. Okay, there we go. So here is the first movement, Massig Schnell, Hindemith. love that piece. The rest of the movements are great too, but so for those of you just joining, welcome to the Living Room series. We are almost reaching the end here. But yeah, I'm Grace Browning, Principal Harp. At the end of the concert, we will announce the next weekend's feature performers, which we're really excited about. Again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to just go ahead. Yep, I'll answer them at the end, yes. But feel free to keep writing. And I'll just tell you real quick about the next piece. Now, this piece doesn't look very good. Annie really liked it too, so nevertheless, still legible. This is an amazing piece by one of my favorite living composers in Canada, Caroline Lizotte. And Caroline is close in the harp community. We all sort of know each other. And she is another one of those composer harpists. So it's amazing to have this piece, because what you'll notice is she pulls out some of the most amazing sounds out of the harp. So obviously, besides just being able to play the string and pluck the strings as usual, you can make so many interesting sounds with the harp, which is one of the reasons why I was so immediately in love with it. So in addition to that, we can play harmonics, which are, just beautiful bell-like sounds all over the harp. We can also play closer to the soundboard, which sort of sounds more like a guitar, mandolin. We can knock on the soundboard, we can use our nails, and in the piece you're about to hear, you're also going to hear some really interesting sounds up here, which is not in the usual part of the string that you pluck, but it has a really amazing effect. So Caroline writes a really quick synopsis about what this movement is about. So this piece is called Suite Galactique. So really, it is a galactical suite. It's about, it's sort of otherworldly in nature, which I love. So she has this little description of the first movement, which I'll read to you now. So it's called exosphere. An exosphere is the atmospheric layer approximately 1,000 kilometers deep in the Earth, where the lightest molecules escape the effect of gravity and reach interplanetary space. So you'll notice that the music sort of starts in the base of the harp, as though it is sort of the center of the Earth's core. And then it sort of brings that energy out through the bass into the middle of the harp, and eventually you'll see the end of the piece ends way out up here. So Lizotte just so brilliantly uses the registers of the harp to sort of mimic the levels of the Earth and of the atmosphere, and eventually into space. So enjoy this journey upwards. infinity and beyond. Just kidding. Anyway, that is the end of my musical program. I hope you enjoyed that Sweet Galactique. It's an amazing piece, right? And we just want to thank you so much for joining us. We're going to end the YouTube stream now, but if anyone wants to hop over to Facebook Live, I'll sit down and answer some questions. And I might actually, I wanted to show you, I know it's such a beautiful piece. Let's see, Ben, were there some questions? Okay.
How long have you been playing?
Okay, so someone wanted to know. So I started the harp when I was 9 years old. But I didn't start on this big thing. I started on a little tiny baby harp called a folk harp or a Celtic harp, and that was how I started. And it was actually my mom's idea. I know a lot of people see the harp from far away and they say, I want that. But for me, I was an active child and I did a lot of different instruments and a lot of different sports. So when my mom suggested it, I thought, okay, yeah, sure, I'll do it, and I liked it fine. But everything changed when I first walked into my first orchestra rehearsal, and I realized that it didn't have to be, a private, just a solo instrument all the time. In fact, it's so much more fun to get to play with your friends. So eventually, then I moved up to a bigger harp, and then this harp, this full-size one, and I guess the rest is history. Also, real quick, so I'm gonna have a little drink here, and I just want to show you guys, this is a very special bottle of wine that was actually made by our violist, David Holt. That's right, he makes wines. So I thought that would be a good drink for this evening. Okay, other questions?
Do you have a favorite composer for the harp?
Okay, do I have a favorite composer for the harp? Okay, that is tough. I would probably say, I really do love Debussy a lot. I also really love Ravel. It's funny when I thought we ended the, yes, yeah. I thought, in fact, probably Debussy. Now there are two pieces that we didn't have time for, but next time we have a big, enough people gathered, it would be great to perform Debussy's Danse sacrée et profane. If any of you haven't heard that piece before, you can check it out. In fact, the harpist who just played on our Grammy award-winning CD, her name's Yolanda Condenasis. She has a great recording of it. And also Ravel. Yeah, so Ravel really was one of the first composers to take full advantage of the pedals. And now that I'm away from the I can just show you guys real quick. This is what the back of the harp looks like. So notice all those pedals, right? So basically, you can do some pretty fun things where if we put the pedals in a certain position, we can actually create like a fixed harmony, kind of like, so rather than just G flat major, we can have like, let's see, G flat, A sharp, B flat, C sharp, D flat. So using the pedals, we can basically create or double or omit other pitches, which is why you can get that really incredible, heavenly sound. Let's see. Any other, if you have any other questions here real quick, I just want to show you outside my window here. I'm just going to flip the camera. Okay, so here, this is my sweet girl, Annie. Hi, Annie. Thanks for listening. And here is the view outside my apartment. So you can see Eastman Theater right over there. Hi, Eastman. We love you. We miss you. And when the music returns, our seats will be waiting. We can't wait to be back there with you soon. So in the meantime, we're excited to announce next week's Living Room series will be hosted by, drum roll please, Wesley and Shannon Nance and their amazing musical family. So I know you're going to want to tune in for that. We may continue to stream on YouTube or we may just revert back to Facebook. So either way, you will find us here. And If you all are, I know a lot of you are already in the RPO family, but if this concert moved you, we would love your support in any way. So feel free to check out the RPO website, rpo.org. If you'd like to give, rpo.org/donate. And go ahead and just follow us here as we continue to engage you virtually during this time. So all the best from my home to yours. Much love, and thank you so much for being here.